Hello there guys and welcome to class.
And where did I go wrong? I lost a friend somewhere along.
Teacher Krishna here. We are working on the TOEFL Conversation 2 subject and this is class number 4. Let me share with you our title as well as end in mind for today. Our title is Type of Question number 3. It will be a reading plus a lecture. Here you have the end in mind as well. Describe the general characteristics from the third type of question from the TOEFL speaking section. Let's continue, and here you have the activities for today. So please watch the YouTube video shared by the teacher and create a graphic organizer with the most relevant information. Then remember to upload the graphic organizer with your notes and everything to Educativa. Keep in mind that you need to include the format that we always use in class, which is the date. We also have the title, end in mind, and lastly we have the content. Okay, and prepare yourself for the world of international standards.
I am the way your time.
Awesome, so let's start. Let me give you more information about question number 3. This type of question is going to be known as general and specific. Starting with that, we can say that it is an integrated task, meaning that we are going to be exposed to both a reading and a lecture from a professor in order to be able to answer the question. Let me give you some brief tips that you can use with that, in which you will read a short paragraph about an academic subject and listen to a brief excerpt of a professor's lecture. And while you are reading and listening to the brief excerpt from the professor, make sure to have something to write on. That is going to be crucial, because all of the important information that you gathered from that specific part is going to help you to answer the question better. Then you will be asked the question. Lastly, you will be given around 30 seconds to prepare your answer and 60 seconds to give your response. As we have studied in previous lessons, rubrics specify, or the generalities specify, that the best answers are going to fulfill the 60 seconds. They are going to complete the 60 seconds time frame. This is something that we have been trying to work on, and don't worry, if it's still difficult for you, we're going to keep on working on that with the pass of time, and you will see that later on it will be a piece of cake for you. What topics are there going to be included in this type of questions? The topics will be related to the student's development at a high education level. When we talk about the TOEFL test, we have to consider that the students that take this evaluation should have a high performance in several skills. Also, I can say that students should be prepared to receive a university class, let's say. So that's why mostly they are going to include academic topics. Some of them can be related to biology, physics, chemistry, psychology, and pedagogy. So there are going to be many fields that we can talk about. Even though it says that we don't really have to read or study these topics beforehand, because they are just evaluating your reading comprehension skills as well as your speaking skills, I will actually recommend that you study them a little bit. Because when you try to explain a topic for the first time, it's still a little bit difficult. But if you have had some contact with it beforehand, it is going to be way easier for you to read questions. That's why it's super important for you to, read a little bit more about the topics of your interest. And even if there are some topics that are not of your interest, but if you consider they are important, you can go ahead and do that as well. Search for articles about biology, search for topics about physics, and then a good exercise is to try to summarize it and try to, put into words a paraphrase of what you just read or what you just watched. That is going to help you out to do better in this specific section of the TOEFL evaluation. Here you have some tips that I can give you so you perform better. First of all, find listening and reading about academic topics from different fields. like I was mentioning, try to go and start with some of the topics you like the most. For example, I can tell you that I really like the topics related to DNA and biotechnology. So I could go ahead and look forward to read a little bit more about this topic. Try to verbally summarize the content that you have read and heard. That's definitely something we need to take into consideration, because it's not the same as when we read an article and we understand what is written down in there as when we try to put it into words. You know, it's way different. So we have to combine both of them, not only reading and comprehending the topic, but actually putting that into words. We continue with keep in mind not to include your opinion about the topic. This is something we have mentioned before. In type of question number 1 in the TOEFL evaluation, they will give you two options. So what do you consider is better, drinking water or exercising? So you say, well, I consider drinking water to be the most important habit because this and that. It doesn't happen in question number 3, so we have to be very careful. And mostly we have to include information about the things that we have read and heard. We don't really have to say, well, I think this is something good, I consider this is bad, because the question is not really referring to our opinion. So let's avoid including our opinion as well as jokes and metaphors. Let's try to left those out. Just focus on paraphrasing the content regarding, and of course, relating everything you're saying to the question you are being asked. Okay, let's continue. Here we have some more tips. So include information from both the reading and listening. They will also evaluate the ability that you have to connect these ideas in between both readings and listenings. So be sure to pay attention to both of them. Take notes, and that's going to help you out a lot. Avoid filler words or phrases. That's extremely important as well. What do I mean by filler words or phrases? They have, for example, this particular characteristic that is constantly repeated in many parts of our speech. We constantly say, yes, So those are filler words, and they are things that we really have to avoid and want to point very high in this kind of evaluations, okay? Let's continue. I know it might seem a little difficult at first, but don't worry, we'll improve with time. Awesome, let's continue. Here you are going to have a small example of what a answer to the TOEFL questions should look like. This is about one of the articles I have already shared with you. Remember that I'm not really sure if it was 1 lesson ago or 2 lessons ago, but I shared with you an article about air pollution as well as a video about the same topic. So based on that, I formulated one of the questions. I guess you even practiced it, right? In which you have to describe how air pollution affected our health. So I'm going to try it out right now. Let me just set my timer. There you go. So remember, we have 30 seconds to prepare the answer. So of course I'm going to click on the timer, set the 30-second time frame. And I'm going to prepare my answer, then I will have 1 minute to deliver it. So let's go ahead. Okay, time is over. So let me try it out. 1, 2, and 3. Air pollution can cause a lot of problems and disorders, especially in human cells. Because after human cells are constantly exposed to air pollution, it is going to generate these factors that are called oxidation stress and inflammation. The Association National Ambient Air Quality Standards, which was founded in 1970, stated a list of the problems and disorders that human cells, as well as human bodies, can have from air pollution. Some of them are cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, obesity, reproduction problems, and immune system disorders. It also highlighted that air pollution should be one of the main concerns of public interest because it is going to cause several problems in the people that live at a certain country or at a particular place. There was another institution that mentioned some of the problems that can be a part of air pollution. It is the International Agency for the Research on Cancer. And it classified air pollution as a carcinogen, meaning that air pollution is going to cause cancer in human cells. Therefore, this problem is something that should totally be addressed by the politicians or by people in charge from different countries. All right, I think I took a little bit longer, almost a minute and a half, but you get the idea, right? You have the question, you have 30 seconds to prepare your answer, and then 1 minute to talk about it. Okay? So let's continue, and now it's your turn to practice. So I'm going to leave a reading, a listening, and a question in the description of this video, so you can try it out at home, okay? Before you join our live session, please make sure to take a look at the reading, at the listening, and practice it. Go ahead and try it out, and later on, we are going to see your results. So that'll be about it for today, and I'll see you in class. Goodbye, guys.
Bye, have a great time.